So basically, the title of this presentation is Sustainability Towards Achieving Business Excellence. And in particular, we are talking about GPIC case. Thanks to the previous speaker because he elaborated on sustainability. I'm not going to spend much time to define sustainability because it was very well defined by the previous speaker. But in my presentation, I'll just talk about the context when it comes to this important issue today, sustainability, and how business organization can achieve excellence through sustainability. When I say that from the title, when we say achieving business excellence through sustainability, for me, I put an example like a path. And the organization, if they are seeking success and great achievement, it's the path that they need to go through. And then I will talk about, as an example, touch a little bit on GPIC case. Before we go into that, and to talk about the context is what is changing around the world nowadays. Everybody's talking about the global warming, the rise in temperature, the climate temperature, and the impact which affects, at the end of the day, our lives. We talk about higher seawater level. We talk about the threat to the islands. We talk about more evaporation and flooding and climate change. And why is that? The result is, of course, it is mostly contributed to the activities that being done over the past years. If we look into this chart, it talks about the global greenhouse gas emissions over years. And we can see how stable it was until the Industrial Revolution started and how drastically the greenhouse emission and volumes increased on our planet. This is one challenge. The second challenge is the population growth. And we are talking today about population explosion. We are over 7 billion, and by year 2050, we are going to exceed 9 billion. All of these people, with the change of the lifestyle, with the increase of the middle class of those populations, there will be more resources required, more energy required, and then more waste that has to be handled and managed. Having said that, and from this talk, it doesn't look that the future is bright enough for the next generations, but the question would arise here, is it possible to stop an environmental catastrophe? Let me just share with you an interesting story. The pictures that you can see in these slides, maybe it's not easy to identify them, but when we talk about the gentleman on the left, his name is Thomas Medalgi. This person in 1928, he invented the Freon, or what is called the CFC gas. And this gas was invented by him as a replacement of the toxic refrigerant gases that were used at that time. And those gases were led due to leaks and incidents to fatal accidents in a number of industries and also households. So when he came up with his invention, he wanted to prove how safe is this gas. So in front of the audience, he took a deep breath of this gas and hold it to prove that this gas is 100% safe and unharmful. And then when he blow the gas, he blow it on an ignited candle to show that this gas is inflammable. And of course, at that time, this discovery was an awesome discovery because it saves a number of lives of people. However, what happened after that? The photo on the right for two gentlemen, Sheward Roland and Mario Malino, back in 1974, they demonstrated that the CFC and Freon gases have a significant damaging effect on the ozone layer. The ozone layer is a very thin layer that surrounds our planet Earth to protect it from the ultraviolet lights, which are harmful to the life and to the creatures on this planet. So this discovery has changed the rule and has put restrictions on the way we have to deal with such kind of gases. What happened after that? Under the 1987, which is called the Montreal Protocol, the world leaders agreed to phase out the CFC gases. And eventually, the hole, which is called the ozone hole, stopped expanding. In 2014, the UN assessment found that the ozone layer is just now start to heal and should be back to its original level by year 2050. So this is a significant change happened and affected our climate in a positive way as a result of doing something different. Another example is the Canadian emission trend. And this is to show how can nations sit and put values and targets, and when they work to achieve such kind of targets, it is possible. And you can see if they haven't done that, how would their trend will go, as you can see in the red line. Although they are still far behind their target, however, significant change and improvement has been achieved as a result of that. So this will drive us to talk about sustainability. As defined earlier, sustainability, it is actually a balancing act. Sustainable development, it is to meet the needs of the present without compromising the well-being of the future generations. But what does sustainability means to the business? When it comes to organization, when it comes to small, medium, and large business organization, how they can implement sustainability. The simple way it has been defined in different ways, of course, and this is one of the models or the examples, which is called the triple bottom line, or what is called as the 3 Ps, is basically people, planet, and profit. And when we say people, it refers to the fair labor practices, the community, and the region where the businesses operate, is how much this business is giving in return to the community and to the people. The planet, it refers to the sustainable environmental practices and environmental stewardship that should be taken in consideration by organization. And of course, we cannot achieve that unless you are a strong, sound, and profitable organization. So the third P is to talk about the economic value created by the organization after deducting the cost of inputs and other capitals. What also would support that is, I would quote a say by the former UN Secretary, we cannot achieve a more equitable, prosperous, and sustainable future without business engagement and solutions. So it's a win-win situation. We need business. It's not just governments or nations, but organization, profitable or non-profitable, should work together to achieve this target. And here I just wanted to give you an example as a case in GPIC, what we have done in terms of sustainable approach to achieve our business excellence. I'm sure many companies in Bahrain, they are doing the same. And there are, of course, great efforts, and we have seen some lessons in the presentations given today in different organizations and even yesterday about how those organizations succeeded in achieving sustainable achievements. And this is just one example, is to share with you what we have done in GPIC. Basically, GPIC, or Gulf Petrochemical Industries Company, it's a joint venture between Bahrain, represented by Noga, SABIC from Saudi Arabia, and PIC from Kuwait. Our production capacity is 1.5 million tons per year. Our manpower is 481 employees. The paid up capital is 159 million, and our net worth value nowadays is $2.5 billion. This is our vision and mission and corporate values that shows how we have integrated our beliefs into our mission, and then to make sure that this will add value to our customers. And how we have done that, as we talk, we have sponsored and we have taken the 3 Ps model as a practical model to implement. When it comes to the people, it's about the social responsibility that we have to take care. And this is the first aspect, is the people. It's very important. For us, GPIC, the equipment, the plants, the buildings are considered as secondary assets. However, the human resources are our primary assets. And how we do that? We do that by taking care of their safety, health, and environment while working at the plant, and also while they go back to their homes by transferring the knowledge to their families. We do this through a number of social activities. We extend care and contributions as well to the community, and also by supporting and sponsoring different initiatives and involvements. And as I said, caring of employees, families, and children, it is an educational progress that we try to expand our approach by understanding those concepts. When it comes to the second aspect, which is the environmental stewardship, of course, there is a lot to talk about it. However, I will try to talk about it briefly in a way that just to show you some examples. For any organization, there are obligations that you have to comply with, and we do that by fully complying with the environmental local, regional, and international standards. But there is something that we can do beyond that, which is the voluntary contributions that will add value to your process and will help also to mitigate our environmental impacts. This is an example, for example, to comply with the legal requirements. We report frequently to the Supreme Council of Environment, since it is the regulatory body in Bahrain to control all the environmental emissions. We are also subjected to annual chemical waste. We do also the annual chemical waste report by reporting on that aspect. We are subjected to physical site inspection, sampling analysis, and also in addition to that, the external and the internal audits which comes on and being done on a frequent basis. Thank you. The other aspect is the voluntary projects, which I would like just to share with you some of the examples. This is one example, is the carbon dioxide recovery unit, where we have cut down our emissions of carbon dioxide to increase our efficiency and produce more product, as well as cut down the greenhouse gas emissions. Recycling is another project that we embark in GPIC, and we keep a trend and records in following up this manner. Biodiversity is the heart of GPIC, and there might be, some of you have visited GPIC, you can see the plant and the industry side by side to the nature, to the natural habitat that we have created within GPIC. This is an example, is the fish farm. We created this fish farm since 1996, and the idea is to increase the growth of the fish and return this back to the sea. The bird sanctuary is another example where we have created artificial islands with the mangrove trees, and also to attract the migrating birds. Also, we support the communities through sponsorship, public awareness, and educational collaborations. And this is just an example, is the environmental research program. It's the program that we started back in 2004. And we have maintained this over the past years, is to sponsor the students to do an environmental research. Another program is the environmental awareness lectures, which is done to the schools as well. We started this program back in 2001. The emphasis here, I would like to say, that is the sustainability of maintaining such kind of programs. Over 16 years, we have maintained this program, and more than 40,000 students have benefited from the lectures that our engineers go and approach them and talk about the environment and how can the industry work in a responsible and environmentally friendly manner. We also collaborate with the external parties like the UN. We are part of the Green Wave campaign by planting about 1,000 trees every year in Bahrain. We are collaborating with international organizations such as the United Nations, the UNEP, Global Reporting Initiative, the UN Global Compact. And these are just an examples of how we have committed ourselves as an organization, voluntary, to the principles and the objectives that has been set by those organizations. We are also one of the first organizations in Bahrain to report our achievements by producing the sustainability report, which is in line with the Global Reporting Initiative. This is a well-known standard for the organization. Sorry, I will be just concluding my presentation by just touching the profitability aspect. And of course, as an organization, we have to be profitable. And this has been achieved through the best practices that we have done, our annual exports and approach to the global market, and also by paying the dividends of more than 2.25 billion to our shareholder. Sorry for exceeding my time, and thank you so much for your attention.